I didn't even get to do semis. Y'all got to do semis. It was literally.
I didn't get to do semis. Did I?
Oh, you were in my semis.
I was in your semis, and we didn't get to do it.
I'm so upset. Colin got to do semis. That was.
We're live right now,
we're live?
And so the viewers heard all of that.
No, I mean, the viewers already know. I mean, hey, welcome. Y'all already know. It is us, the Berkeley Slam, here every Wednesday on Zoom. Happy 1 year anniversary, pandemic-versary, please. We've been in the house for a year, y'all, but we've been in your house for a year, bringing live poetry right into your living room. But before we get into our show tonight, I gotta thank the people who make it possible, our supporters on Patreon. It's an amazing platform that allows people to sponsor us on a monthly basis. It gives us the ability to plan, budget, and grow these amazing programs that you see online with us. So I want to shout out first Renee Edmonds, Emily Chow, and Callaloo for being regular supporters. I also want to give a special shout out to Jessica Kozakic for sponsoring one of our weekly workshops. And I want to give an extra special thank you to Alice Grimm for pledging $100 a month in support of one of our venues, the Allen Bluford Center. If you like what you see here at Berkeley Slam, Oakland Slam, the Alchemy Open Mic, if you like Rich Oak events, I encourage you to go to patreon.com/richoakevents to donate monthly. All of that support goes right back into running these shows and making sure we can pay features, pay artists, and pay community members for this platform. Yeah, thank you. Insert PBS sign off. But yeah, it's the Berkeley Slam. I'm so excited. We have an amazing night for us tonight. We have an amazing feature, Jari Bradley. We have 5 kick-ass poets that are going to be competing tonight. But of course, with any competition, we have rules. First, for the poets, y'all have no props, no costumes, no musical accompaniment, no nudity. This is a family live stream. But more importantly, important than keeping your genitals in your pants is your time limit. You have 3 minutes with a grace period of 10 seconds to say whatever you want with your piece. After 3 minutes and that grace period of 10 seconds, you will be deducted points by our scorekeeper, Chardonnay. After 4 minutes, you will be muted and played off stage by our DJ, our live streamer, our Lord and Savior, Arvind Christ. Yeah, it's not gonna be cute. It's not gonna be smooth. It's gonna be awkward as fuck. That's all I can promise you. I'm awkward. Zoom's awkward. Muting people in the middle of their poem is awkward. There is no way I'm going to be able to save that. So please, whatever you do, do not go over 4 minutes. Next, for the judges. Judges, thank you so much. You make it possible to give out money at the end of the night. And the way you do that is by putting numbers on art. It's weird, but it works. You will be scoring each poet from a 0.0 to 10.0 scale. 0.0 being the worst thing you have ever seen in your life. It's like garbage on top of garbage on top of garbage, and all of that garbage is sitting on Trump rhetoric. And that's just a 2.5. A 10 is the best thing you've ever heard. It's like gold chains and like grills and like it just everything blinged out. Like that poem was iced out, dripped down, and gave you $2,000 in ones, and walked away, didn't say anything. Point being, there's not a lot of zeros, there's not a lot of tens. Accordingly, there's this thing called score creep, where as the night goes on and the poems start sounding better, the poems start getting better scores. But that's not fair for the people who went first when your ears weren't warmed up. So to combat that, we are going to have a calibration poet, someone who is not competing, but you are going to score them as if they are. And any poems you like more, score them higher. Any poems you don't like as much, score them lower. Please make sure to send your scores to Chardonnay as quickly as possible and take this time now to send Chardonnay a private message so you can open a line of communication, just like you can open a line of credit with your local bank. Don't do it, but you can. And then finally, for you sitting at home, you have rules too. Yes, I'm in your house. I'm telling you what to do. I'm just like your mother. Deal with it. But your first rule is to like, share, and subscribe to whatever platform you are watching us on. We are here every single week. We have been here every single week for a year. And before that, every week in person for 20 years. So we're not going anywhere. And you don't want to miss what we have coming up next, because we have an amazing lineup of poets and features for the rest of the month. And you don't want to miss out on that. Second is to comment on the feed. Let these poets know how much you love these poems. Be more enthusiastic than you would at a slam in person, because Zoom can be really dry. But your love shines through from your amazing comments. But don't be a hater. Good vibes only. Yeah, and then most importantly, share. Let other people know that this is going on, because what's a show without your friends? So lit. Oh my goodness, I'm missing word of the day. Word of the day, a time-honored tradition where we force poets to half-heartedly and whole like effortly, I don't know how to say that, but half-heartedly care all of their effort, jam a word into their poem for an extra point. Today's word of the day is courtesy of Merriam-Webster.com, and it is blarney, which means skillful flattery or blandishment, or nonsense humbug. Poets, if you use blarney in your poem, you will get an extra point. Judges, don't worry about that. Our scorekeeper will handle it. Are y'all ready to hear who's going to be slamming tonight?
Woo!
I'm gonna pretend I heard cheers instead of cheer. But the poets will be reading in this order. We have Bambi, then we have Nicole Tracy, then we have Bree, then we have Joshua Merchant, and then we have Kaya. Give it up for every single poet that is going to be reading in the slam tonight. Yay. I'm gonna pretend that I heard cheers, because this is Zoom and it's awkward. But lit. So that means, hey, gang, I heard cheers, yes. But that means, I don't know what that was.
Fake applause.
Oh my God, yes. It sounded like static from my end, so I was kind of scared because I was looking at my screen. But it means, but yeah, that being said, I think we're ready to start the show. So that means that on deck, we have Bambi, but give maximum love for your first poet, or for your sacrificial poet coming up right now. Give it up for Reggie.
Woo!
Let's see if I have memorized this poem. Here, my mother built a temple out of gendered stone. The wet clay of my body molded into boyhood so well. But I pray at my own altar, and no God answers in a language that I recognize. All I know is the sharp sting of my name twisted on a masculine tongue. How each letter is a bitten syllable bent before an empty prayer. All I know are all the ways my body has built itself into all the things I don't want it to be. My body wears itself violently. So I crack a rock against a boy's head, and here spills my red rose gender. Everything I learned of killing, I learned from my mother. She taught me how to hold the knife until I became a blade scraping at my own bones, until I didn't recognize myself in the mirror. And if I am born of my mother's hands, then I must be everything she carved out of herself To survive this long, I must be a monument of blood, a ruined altar, but I'd rather mold myself into a garden, a secret, a holy kiss whispered between the walls of my own skin. So I tear myself down brick by brick and name the new rebel God. I kill all of me that isn't me. Damn. I quiet every off-key hymn until my name is a hallelujah that, oh my goodness. You got this. I got this. Let me just find it. LOL. I haven't done this poem in so long. It's like right here. Here we go. I kill all of me that isn't me. I quiet every off-key hymn until my hallelujah is the language that speaks my name into an open psalm. Praise this destruction. Sacred is the blood we sacrifice to ourselves. Holy is the death that brings us back to life, we many-gendered gods. So many hands and so many blades our mothers no longer recognize. So many bodies and all of them ours. I shape my bones into a better scaffolding. I stretch my skin tight over muscle. Everything I keep becomes hardened clay. Every ruin here I made. Every stone pillar cracking at the base is mine. Everything that dies is buried in dust. So much sand, fists full of dirt, and I slip through so many fingers. All right, give it up for your sacrificial poet.
Go off, go in. What the fuck? Hell yeah.
All right,
Ooh.
judges, you know what to do. Send your scores over to Chardonnay. I mean, they should already have been sent to Chardonnay by now. But if you haven't, send them to Chardonnay. So yeah, that was your sacrificial poet. Now you judges are ready for poetry. And now you poets don't have to worry about fucking up because somebody already did it. So yeah, that was our sacrificial poet. We are now ready to get into this slam. So that means on deck, we have Nicole Tracy, but give maximum love to our first poet coming up in the slam. Give it up for Bambi.
That's my friend, that's my friend, that's my friend.
Mic check.
We hear you.
Moon river, wider than a mile. I'm crossing you in style some way. My dream maker, my heart breaker, wherever you're going, I'm going that way. Oh. I had a dream my father killed me. Dragged me by the dreadlocks into a dark hole. I woke up before he could slice my neck with a paintbrush. Understand? My father is not a villainous man, and yet I can so easily see him attempt to paint me into a quiet, soft mumble against carved out piece of wet sketchbook paper drifting away at the nearest river. I try not to poetry my father into a deadbeat, try to emphasize, but he came back. Eventually, I floated myself to his resting spot near the waterway, say, I love him, and he loves me too. FaceTimed him the other day, but we never talk about him leaving. See, my father hides from truth like I have learned to. Crosses out our past as if you can white out your mistakes, teach them like edits. I once believed I edited my father home, poemed him into a special guest. See, I've always been my father's child. Think I have more of him running through my veins than anything else. See him, a man full of blarney, charming himself into the picture of a father who was there. Once, I had a dream my father apologized for leaving me alone. Then I woke up to the same abandonment issue, sat at my writer's desk. He calls it inspiration and nicknames me healthy. And that is the true artistic slang. Being forgotten and resurrected for art's sake. Being erased and rewritten and rewritten and rewritten until I have the gravitas to rewrite my father into someone who always loved me. See, Father, I was so afraid of you dragging me back into that dark hole I had to climb myself out of. And where were you? Is this what you were hiding from? My pain, my voice, your guilt dragged me, Father. You seem to be dragging me along a river of regret. I am nothing if not following you, treading backwards in the footprints you made so as to appear like you never made them at all. Is it my fault you weren't there? Wherever you went, could you not take me with you? I try so hard not to poetry my father into a pencil end, like a being that is there until he's not, that will love you until he doesn't, that can white out the mistake, that is you. Better yet, a reflection of the same water I came from, the same river I might evolve into. 'Cause wherever you're going, I'm going that way.
Gang, give it up for Bambi. Yes. All right. And for reference, the sacrifice got a 26.0. You know what I like to say. It's not about the point. It's about the poetry. The points, the poetry. The points, the poetry. Lit. Speaking of love and poetry, if you love what we do, you can also support our GoFundMe. Yes, we have a GoFundMe. I know we have a Patreon, we have grants or whatever, but it's expensive. It's surprisingly expensive to pay people for their art, especially when you are trying to pay people what they are worth, which is every artist is worth $1,000. We can't pay $1,000, but I'd like to get there one day. And I'd like to be able to continue paying the poets and artists that we are bringing in at the same rate, which requires your help. We have seen massive budget cuts due to COVID, and we need your support. So if you go to our GoFundMe link, which is going to be posted in the comment section, you can donate. You can make a one-time donation, help us keep the lights on, keep the doors open, and be able to pay artists, organizers, educators, poets, performers, teachers, community members what they deserve for their art. So yeah, thank you so much for your support. And we're gonna continue doing this, and it's gonna be great. So hop on the ride while you can. Speaking of the ride, we're gonna hop back on this train of magic, because on deck we got Bree, but give maximum love to the next poet coming up on stage. Give it up for Nicole Tracy.
Mic check.
We can hear you.
Welcome to college. Here is your orientation packet. All of it is blarney, but we will start with page 1, which details all about how we call college an investment, but it is really a trick to see how much debt you can take out, so that when you get your degree at the end of it, but no one will pay you enough for you to afford to live, eat, and pay off your loans, you'll be told it was your choice. The first stop on our campus tour today is the Ivory Tower, where all the legacy kids hang out and throw money around like it is a competition. Who can waste more money, who can pay the most to buy their grades, whose parents can write the biggest check to get them out of the biggest trouble. Don't worry, they will make every moment known that you are the one who doesn't belong, because in their world, money will always beat hard work. Next on our campus tour is the bookstore. We will suggest you buy from here because your tuition does not turn enough of a profit for us, and you have not made enough friends to warn you that this is in fact a scam. Books cost double or triple what they would online, and you will learn that the hard way. Our next stop is the Quad. You'll notice that this is where we take diversity photos for the website to prove that we are not the white institution that our 75% white student body would lead you to believe. We recommend sitting out here to get fresh air instead of studying in the library. Speaking of the library, that's our next stop. Now, while you can find many of your textbooks here, we still recommend buying them from the bookstore. Remember, freshmen, if you came to college to study, go to the library. If you came to college to party, go anywhere else on campus. Speaking of parties, I want to pass down the wisdom upperclassmen women told me. Always leave with the same people you went in with. There is a way to hold your drink so that you can cover the top of it. This will become an instinct for you. Never accept an open container. Just say, you don't like that kind of beer. Repeat after me. Rugby house parties have windows, walls, and roofies. I promise to help another young and vulnerable freshman with this knowledge. Speaking of, make sure to spend your first 2 years working your butt off. Class, clubs, volunteer work. That way you can get as many unpaid internships as possible your junior and senior year. Be warned, Grown adult professional men will behave just as badly as college boys, but this time there are no consequences for them. They make the rules and will always find themselves innocent. We are just preparing you for a lifetime of doing unpaid emotional labor for some dick swinger who benefits from nepotism and thinks that to be a good thing. You will work 10 times harder and still have it be called a handout. But don't worry. Once you are in charge, you can change the system, rewrite the rules, show men the way out, and help another woman on her way up.
Gang, gang, gang. Give it up for Nicole Tracy. Woo. Bra, 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 bra. All right. And for reference, Bambi got a 28.7. But what do I say? Fuck the scores. Give it up for the poetry, never the points. The poetry, never the points. The poetry. We love the poetry. And speaking of poetry, we are gonna keep it moving because on deck, we have Joshua Merchant, but give maximum love to the next poet coming up on stage. Give it up for Bree.
Can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Fall in love. Look to the trees. You'll hear amongst the leaves whisperings of the universe beckoning you to embody the wind, to flow in synchronicity with the tides of the ocean, to embrace the many reflections of your spirit. You are a 1,000-petaled lotus. Be still like the earth beneath your feet. In silence, you discover that you've been chosen by love. Be present in the now. Don't focus on what was, because in these streets, they'll smoke you like bud. I wonder sometimes, where is the compassion? We always seem to search outwardly instead of looking within. I said what I said, and I feel what I have always felt. I'm blessed and guided by my higher self, my inner goddess. So if it's not you, it's somebody else. And in love, I'm bound to lose if I don't choose myself. So I let it all go. A lesson from the sea. We're bound to part ways because you can't see the magic in me. I know my heart is golden. I can lead you into the unknown if you meet me on a cliff by the ocean. With you, time would be frozen. I'll have an inner knowing that you're my only. Let's be honest with the flowers, or let's be one with the flowers. Our love is potent. To love, I am ever devoted. If you love someone, show them, because we are not promised another moment. A blessing and a curse of being human. And that's the poem. Yay.
Gang.
Woo!
Gang.
Did I go over? Did I go for 3 minutes?
It's just one piece.
Oh shit.
No, it's all
No,
good.
I was saying, did I go over 3 minutes?
I'm not sure. We can private message you your time.
Oh, okay, because I was like,
Yeah.
I didn't know, because I don't know if I got cut off. I don't know, but yay.
Yeah, no, you didn't get cut off.
Hey,
I can tell you it's not been 4 minutes. But I'm not scorekeeping, so I don't keep track of time. But if you would like to know, if you would ever like to know what your score was, or what your time was, you can always hit up our scorekeeper. Our scorekeeper tonight is Chardonnay, and they can let you know.
okay.
Just for reference for anyone who might be wondering. And speaking of wondering and scores, Nicole got a 28.8. But again, like, fuck the scores, because it's all about the poetry. It's all about the poetry and the vibes and the love we have for both. Lit. Speaking of vibes, I don't know if you've heard, but you know, like, in order to like have a poem, you have to write a poem. And as a slam, we kind of recognize that. So every Wednesday before our show at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we have a writing workshop that is free to the public. You do not have to participate in the slam in order to come to the writing workshop. And it is almost always led by our feature, who is like I don't know if you've been watching us for the last year, but we ain't had a bad feature yet. We ain't had a bad workshop run by a feature yet. We haven't had a bad workshop, period, but definitely not run by a feature. So like, if you haven't been to one of our workshops and you have the time and ability to go, I encourage you to go. You are missing out. They are free 99. They are every Wednesday at 7 p.m. PST. You can visit our Instagram, Facebook pages at the Berkeley Slam for more information. We always post our Zoom link a few days before. So yeah, check us out. And swerving back into the lane of Poetry Slam, on deck, we have Kaya, but give maximum love to our next poet coming up on stage. Give it up for Joshua Merchant.
Woo!
Oh no. Okay. Mic check.
We can hear you.
Cool.
Your video is off though, by the way. I don't know if that's intentional.
No, I thought I. Oh, hold on a second.
Technical difficulties. I know sometimes if you have another app that is using your camera, Zoom won't use it.
Oh, okay. Let me, hold on.
I have no idea what to do to stall.
I'm sorry. I don't know why this is happening, and I'm trying to fix it.
It's all good. Yeah, thank you, Arvind, for helping me out. Our Patreon. There are so many different ways that you can support Rich Oak Events. That is the group, the program, the people behind the Berkeley Poetry Slam, the Oakland Poetry Slam, and the Alchemy Open Mic. There are a bunch of different levels that you can give at, anywhere from $2 a month to $100 a month. Like I said, every little bit goes right back into running the show. Last year, we set a goal of getting 30 patrons, and after 30 patrons, performers get into our in-person shows for free. Y'all did that shit. Performers get into our in-person shows for free. That's because of community support. And
what's our next goal though?
Our next goal is that if we are able to get $1,000 a month in Patreon subscriptions, $1,500 a month in Patreon subscriptions, our shows will be free to everyone, at least our Oakland and Richmond shows.
I don't.
Do you mind performing with your video off?
I don't mind. I don't.
We can still spotlight you. So I think that's the most important part.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready.
Maybe I was dropped on my head. Doctor said, whoops. Father said the horn was the most hideous acts of ungodliness he had ever seen. My mother called it crown, told me to use it. Is my birthright. Maybe that's when the shrinking began. Grow feathers and your God doesn't teach you how to fly, but says you are sick for walking. Shake glitter from your wings and still obviously the flu. He makes you a soup with a vial of his tears and fingernail clippings he made you pull from his back with a pair of tweezers, each moment an unforgettable choir. Each moment a thick chewing, the wet sloshing of a pocket blade sunk in and snatched out of a belly repeatedly, and voila, I am the tweezer. What's left inside, at least. I leave the nest looking like I belong in somebody's gold chariot, somebody's museum, somebody's fantasy, but the size of a grape nut. Naturally, I settle for somebody's mouth. I suppose that made me a nightmare. Imagine that. A nightmare in loop, in bloom. I was almost godly. I know this by the way he initiated I'm not the nigga to love, his third night rising inside me. I was almost demonic. I know this because you blew me a kiss or a fist and I almost threw you a mushroom cloud. I was almost human even. I know this because I bled. I kept bleeding. And I didn't even notice. I was almost nothing, wasn't I? I was, wasn't I? Your favorite. That's the poem.
Gang. Give it up for Joshua Merchant. And if you're at home, just turn to your nearest electronic device and say, I fucking hate technology. Look your laptop in the eye and say, I fucking hate technology. Look your cell phone in the eye and say, I fucking hate technology. If you are at home and you live with your parents and they don't like you cussing, I freaking hate technology. I don't want nobody sitting up here emailing me, you got my ass whooped. No, I did not. You know what's safe in your house. But don't say I didn't give you an alternative. But yes, despite technical difficulties, thank you for still pushing through. And for reference, Bree got a 26.8. Once again, I'm gonna say this all night. I'm gonna say this till I die. Someone could get a 30. I'm gonna be fuck the points. The poetry was dope. That's what we here for. The poetry, never the points. The points are just to trick a whole bunch of people to come into a Zoom room on a Wednesday night. And listen to live art. So haha, we actually won. On deck, we have our feature, Jari Bradley. Ooh, I'm so excited. I'm really excited for this feature. Y'all don't even understand. But give maximum love to our last poet of the first round. Give it up for Kaya.
My text.
We can hear you.
Trigger warning for anti-Black racial slurs. The Hottentot lights the gas herself. None ask how she got it, they know. Someone's son or daughter promised her starving, rusted heart love, and she, palms facing the same shard of sky from which her father first slapped her down, accepted that instead. A bone is not a tooth much the same way. A match is not freedom, but they call her liberated anyway. Encourage her to light the city on fire until the flames are in their homes, fucking each other into a small insurrection. Then a Black, bitter peace. Everyone marvels at the girl dropping matches into her throat, burning from the inside out. And then the spectacle isn't funny anymore as soon as she's running full speed into the dry field. All across town, on top of the children, A weapon is still a weapon, even if it's wielding itself. Laugh at the nigger girl on fire all you want. She's gonna hear you and force a kiss.
Gang, gang, give it up for Kaya. Yes. I was doing all the Nina Nears because I was pulling up a checklist, getting my shit together. Let's see. And Joshua Merchant got a 29.2. Once again, scores. We give it up for the poetry, never the points. The points are meaningless. It is just a part of the game. The real reason we are here is for some dope ass poetry. And speaking of which, we have reached our feature. Ooh, almost pulled my light down. I got so excited. Whew. Our feature is none other than Jari Bradley. Okay. Part of this bio is cut off, so I'm gonna say what I think it's supposed to say, which is Jari Bradley is a genderqueer poet and scholar from San Francisco, California, Bay Area. They have received fellowships and support from Callaloo, Canem, Tin House, the Pittsburgh Foundation, and the Heinz Endowments. Jari's work has been nominated for a Pushcart Prize and has been published or is forthcoming in the Adroit Journal, Blood Orange Review, selected by Nikkey Finney, The Offing, Academy of American Poets, Poem a Day, Callaloo, Columbia Journal, the Virginia Quarterly Review, and elsewhere. Jari Bradley, MFA, University of Pittsburgh, is the current 2020-2021 First Wave Poetry Fellow at University of Wisconsin-Madison. That's a lot of accolades, and if you've never heard Jari's poetry, if you've never heard Jari speak, I'm just gonna tell you right now, secure your wigs, slick down your edges, everything that's valuable, lock it down, because this is about to come steal your whole life. I need y'all to give maximum love for our fire ass feature tonight, Jari Bradley.
What's up, y'all? How are y'all doing tonight on this glorious Wednesday? It's a pleasure to be back with the Berkeley Slam, man. This is home. Shout out to all the folks running it behind the scenes. Shout out to all the homies. It's just wonderful to be back. Shout out to the poets that read. Y'all are fire. Firebrand. It's good to be in this space. So I have a few poems here, and I'm going to read them, and we'll see where it goes. All right. This first poem is entitled Animalia. Ooh. How I wanted to charge you there in that open field of day collapsing into night. The wail of your fists against my mother's body caused my mouth to crack open. A spray of wings dark as that starless sky where the swelling wasn't too bad this time. I didn't want to be the animal I became, nostrils wet, teeth drawn, elongated at the nail. Oh, how the blood made me weep, how I couldn't put it down, that this, your heavy hand over heavy hand, is how you expected us to live. And so it was, a wildness in the blood, my body a savanna, stretches of flesh vast and wide. I became the wild, and the wild became myself, charging on all four haunches, daring another callous man to resort to. If not the wilderness of his hands, what then? My captor, after Shane McCrae. My captor was too the one who birthed me into this world. The trees whipping on loop from the window in the back seat, their thick green loosening all the ties inside me at the bridges crossing, my need pushing up against my teeth. There is no way to undo the body or its algae, that which ropes back on the vine of memory. How do I tell this story? When I was returned, I was instructed, if you ever see your mother, run. The soft neon of lilac and washed out jade from the amusement park my mother took me, some strange woman and her daughter to, a leftover swirl in my head, stolen trinkets in hand. My mother, my captor, my body as contraband, all the ties loose inside me. I wasn't the same after being under those bright lights, so said my kindergarten friends. And how could I tell them the story? My mother, my captor, how I almost belonged to no one, that I was marked by this loneliness, that I was lucky to have survived. Wilding. You asked me how I did it, made me a kind of life under such circumstance. I was a child that spent the first 5 years of their life coming to the body a constant failure. My single Black mother and I barely survived America, and she swore she never meant to do it, to cut into my face, to make me know it, to give me no chance at beauty, her body a shot through chrysalis of hair and skin, her hunger having shaped me. Violence begets violence, its condensed breath, a constant black buzz in my chest, my hands, not my hands, a menace burgeoning on the tip of morning, its inevitable breaking into me, a sliver of light dawns within my open cavity, its own wild awakening. The body's question, after Tracy K. Smith, was a question of my nature. Why no blood at the start? I was no good at girlhood or submit, though I did surrender to the animality of adolescence. So much hair and sweat in the wrong places, the humility in all that unknowing, proved I could be a thing of my own making. To exist as what had yet to be named meant wearing sir and finding I could keep a secret that I could refuse and answer. Transmogrification. I emerged from the eye of a man's hunger, quadrupedal and measured, self untethered from the self. I have no memory of the happening, only a wilderness, a wildness struck in my blood. I'm a child gone feral in the night of a man's primal urge, violation, its black expanse star-mapped, constellation of a man's bruising. Is this the site of metamorphosis, what turned myself outside myself? Before the body. What comes before the body's rising? An unnameable distance, having been born alone, having made the journey through blood on my own. I want to say it was love, my mother and father, what drove their bodies to create another. I grasp for knowing and pull back a chaotic wind, its unruly air. What was before? In the beginning, I had no name to carry the weight of death. My father left formless. The body's rough science attempts to fill in the gaps, an attempt to lift shame stuck in the body's craw. To reach back to a beginning, I try to remember that which cannot be remembered. Fracture living up to its name. What comes before? I settle on love or something greater than the sum of loss, the potential of will, the body's rising, a living testament, the strange spell of knowing, its faceless want to chart those unknowable places, its cartography of flesh that brings me closest to the untouched terrain of the body's rising. What comes before? The body's mutiny. Inflammation leads to blood crescents atop the surface of my skin. Crimson stars dotted against the morning's horizon. My body wills it from me without warning. This body's tether to shield and scythe, or simply what I can't control. How my blood runs from me babbling like a brook, or run still the bloodstream, a shocked silence and childless. Obedience used to be a peculiar weight on me. I thought in order to be loved meant I must meet that beast of expectation, that I had to be exceptional for anyone to love me. A belief spread in the bodies of all the women on my father's side of the family, the malfunction in my ovaries, an inheritance of some man's fist ricocheting off my mother's body and her mother's before hers. How we take it. Our bodies rocked into oblivion, rocked into hallelujah, amens, take it away, Jesus. My body rocked into its own epicenter of mutiny, or what refuses, my blood having chose itself, how that choice was named a syndrome, another word for failure, how the blood crescents atop my skin, the body's attempt at a return to God. Self-portrait as cherub face of the ox. In the dense forest of language lay the parts of myself driven into the wilds by man, my heavy hooves carrying my body like a betrayal against the night's unsolicited touch, where I was a child once, a daughter of the dust, then memory, its deep onset of indigo. I chant her absence in all four of my tongues, gifts from the benevolent one, though I am a mutiny of being, bullheaded by nature, my great face harvested of horns, an outline of my condensed breath. When I stare into the night stares back. It is lonely to be a plow in the earth, to be a thing of the soil. Who I was once still lingers in lieu of the likes of man. I'm what becomes of the unprotected, my name, say it. The direct translation of a plea, let me in. I often wonder what my body will be returned to God, abomination or rapture. For now, I know myself as the sweet unknown, both peace and the fury. Wild and unbridled. You come to me wild and unbridled as a lone mare in the night, your face stern and sure in its nakedness. You and I are coming into our season, and it is easy with you. The soft tear along my lip, my salt on your tongue, our bodies cast, intertwined, we become of one flesh, of one mind, of one hunger, our one mouth moaning in unison, untamed. Here is where we lay down what shames and give it a name, good enough for a winning breed, as I heed your neigh, your soft nuzzle against my mane. We are coming into our season, and it is easy with you until it isn't. We traverse the wild in us until we unlatch the old haunts of our humanity, being simple creatures of habit, beasts of our own mundanity and insecurities, your loose curl in my foraged mouth long after you've gone. I have a couple more poems here. Blood. My mother's ribboned from a busted lip across her chin. The impressioned end of his knuckles is how I first learned to weep for things pulled from a body, unmade in my mother's bludgeoned image, the nagging question of her across his bony hands. the gone to dust between my tiny legs. I've spent years trying to make sense of the forgetting. My body's invasion is a dull history that lingers like an anthem, a record of my raptures sung in vain. And I'm going to close us out with this poem entitled Interior. I stroll the body's wilderness, those last truly wild places, an attempt to wrest joy from its hiding place. The body's expanse, its granular pleasures undisturbed, its strict reserves, its flora, its fauna. This is how I live with what has been done in the dark. Something inside me grows lips against the body's intolerable ravine, its treacherous gulches, an impossible sorrow surely meant to drown me. Something within reaches toward the natural light, a wild phenomena, its act of witness, an untethering in the body's closed quarters, its wild notes, a defiance, a disobedience. What I mean is, joy is a wild thing, interior, rendered in the wilderness of my body when loosed. Thank y'all so much. It's been a pleasure. It's been an honor. Berkeley Slam.
Wow. Wow. Every time we get a feature, I say this, and every time I say this, I like truly mean this. You make me want to step my pen game up. I'm not going to because I'm too lazy to write anything right now. But you make me want to write. Damn. Damn. That's right. Wow. I don't know it. Ooh. Oh my goodness. That last poem, Joy is a wild thing. That's wow. Just okay. Bring it back, Reggie. Bring it back. Thank you so much, Jari, for that beautiful feature. Please, 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 stay in touch. Come back, slam. Just keep blessing. We want to stay connected with you, your art, your community. Yeah, thank you so much. This was a beautiful experience. All right, deep breath. And now it's ready to start the money round. Yes, round two. We're back at it again with the second half of our slam. This is the money round. So top three poets are going to be getting cash prizes. Remember when I said we pay poets? We pay poets, we pay poets. Yeah, this is the round that, I mean, both rounds matter. All poetry matters. But this is the money round. This is where the stakes are. This is where the grill is. Get it? Grills, steaks. I'll be here all week. But yes, so poets will be reading in reverse order of appearance. So that means, oh my God, damn, where'd my list go? Here we go. Damn, I keep scrolling past it. Damn. We got Kaya, then Joshua Merchant, then Bree, then Nicole Tracy, then Bambi. Lit. I need y'all to give it up for every single person that's going to be touching the stage in the second round, which is everybody. Yeah. So we are not going to have a calibration poet. We are just going to slide right in to our second round, which means on deck we have Joshua Merchant. But I need y'all to give it up one last time for our first poet of the second round. Give it up for Kaya.
Yay!
Trigger warning for mentions of sexual assault and for cussing at God. Advantage. It's not okay to say rape and God go together, but did Mary ask for that baby? Our Heavenly Father is a coward. We all know, but never say why he didn't come do it himself, don a pussy and face the men he fashioned from the dirt. God is not a bitch. Bitches do their own work, cake their own fingers with the blood and rot of lust's sweaty bulge. Only a man shoves a child to trembling arms, snarls, suffer. Only a man denies a reluctant mother of her dignity, allows her to whelp a holy icon among lower creatures and their blarney. Wasn't Mary, young and pure, almost stoned to death, flattened by the junkyard doctrine of her child's making? Father creation won't be a bitch for fear. It is one thing to watch the flesh forced to sin from the froth of heaven, but if he were forced to know what crimes his children coaxed from crying flesh, he'd rip the rainbows from our corporeal backdrop, strike down every endowed son of a bitch he made in his image. He'd crush their chins against their temple walls and paint their wives' names into the earth's riverbanks. But God is as much a businessman as he is a father. Peddling his daughters to thirsty men for silver and selling his books. He's busy working. He's got plans for us. No time to socialize. God crosses the threshold, drops wet rice into our laps and says, feed me, maybe I'll leave you alone tonight. One day he'll retire and will no longer be the bounty of his war on freedom. A bitch's patience is worth all the golden linens to cry in. The ivory coffin set aflame on the rosy, morose river. Heaven is somewhere in our silence. We've just got to wait for our piece of the holy war's justice, a pink porch flanked by quiet dancing lilies, the sun shining her purple majesty on our rested faces, not a man in sight, demanding we fill our bellies with his wishes, not a man in sight telling us what to do or how to hold anything, not a man in sight telling lies about why he's there.
Gang, gang, give it up for Kaya. Woo, brah, brah, brah. Gang, 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 gang. And for reference, I didn't say this, but in the last round, Kaya got a 29.1. So for reference, in round one, Kaya got a 29.1. I don't have their round two scores yet, but I'm gonna have that after the next poet, because on deck we have Bree, but give maximum love to the second poet coming up in the second round. Give it up for Joshua Merchant.
Black gums in the wake of overpriced streaming services. On a good day, I want to be the version of myself that only breathed because my mama planted a jewel that split open through the pressure of what she always knew would give. On a good day, the apple which fell from the tree is just that, no rolling head in its place. I look up in the morning and the sunrise isn't a blink away from a hacking cough full with plastic phlegm, bloodied and unforgiven. But there are moments I think of her body, frosting the window before me, and every appendage of me is tooth and claw. The irony is where she died, a care center, where a milk-bathed nurse warmly greeted my brother and smiled at me like a hungry jackal, a place where she was treated like the royalty she was when we dropped her off 2 winters ago, only for us to find her in a wheelchair, past her bedtime, the only light in sight shining from the TV my brother gifted. They sent her to sleep tossing masks like rose petals. Today, I watched a show about a child who tried to save herself, her family, and the world. In the end, she found she was the void. I believe Mama knew she was heaven before she made it. Yet there are moments I want nothing more than to be just that, an unhinged jaw, where everyone responsible for Veronica's death is a corner store chewable, mint condition, hurts my jaw, won't digest properly, I swallow anyway. Show me a glass house, and I'll show you a crime scene licked clean. I must be fresh, ain't I? Are my teeth not the pearly gates? They must be. Somehow I smile today.
Gang, gang, gang. Give it up for Joshua Merchant.
Yes.
Yes, I'm still waiting on a score for Kaya. But hopefully we will get that sorted out soon. Our final judge, if you did not give our score, Kaya, I see. And it looks like, actually, I'm gonna wait for that score. It looks like Kaya got a 29.3 once again. Fuck the scores. Give it up for the poetry, never the points. The poetry, never the points. We are chugging right along because on deck, we have Nicole Tracy, but give maximum love to the next poet coming up in the slam. Give it up for Bree.
Y'all can hear me?
We can hear.
Can y'all hear me? Hi, okay. You are my favorite accident. You are proof that everything divinely happens. You will never feel the same. I know that now, and not only can I live my life with the pain, but I can confidently cry my heart out without begging you to try harder. Maybe in another lifetime, I can fulfill my wish of one day being yours. You couldn't give me nothing more than I could give myself, but that's a bit of a lie, isn't it? You see, I was falling and I slipped through your fingers. This is the way it has to be. I can't be with you, and you can't be with me. Heaven knows I love you. I traveled to you on packed trains. I would have done anything for you, but maybe that was the problem with me. We couldn't have worked out. Maybe you were destined to break my heart. Now, I've changed the time difference again. I released this love so I can heal with the power of the islands. You could have given me something, you, my everything. For your love, I was always begging. You wanted everyone but me. I could not compete with your love of money, and my pockets ran empty. For me, you couldn't change. We never felt the same. I was so ashamed because I was played. No, there's not just one person to blame, but if someone did you the way you did me, you'd understand why I'm crying, because before I knew it, I allowed you to become my everything. That's the poem.
Gang, give it up one last time for Bree. Gang. Woo! Bra. Lit. And speaking of showing love, I'd like to shout out the venue for the Berkeley Slam. I know like our current venue is the worst venue we have ever had. Because the best venue we've ever had, the only in-person venue we've ever had, which is amazing because the Berkeley Slam has been going on for 23 years now. 23 years at the same venue, the Starry Plough in Berkeley. Really huge shout out to everyone at the Starry Plough. Thank y'all so much for holding it down for the last 23 years. We hope to be able to see y'all very soon, as soon as it is safe. Don't want to be like very soon because like everything is open up. But as soon as it is safe, we want to be back in the Starry Plough, our home. You can support our home by visiting their Facebook page. There are a number of ways to support. They have a GoFundMe up, I still believe. You can also get gift cards to use later, but anything that you can throw their way can ensure that they stay open, because it's not just the Berkeley Slam, it's a bunch of Berkeley institutions that are housed in the Starry Plough. So please support the Starry Plough as much as you support us. And for reference, Josh Merchant got a 29.8. Fuck the scores. Give it up for the poetry, never the points. The points don't matter. It's all about the poetry. And speaking of poetry, on deck, we have our last poet of the night, Bambi. But give it up for our second to last, our penultimate poet. Give it up for Nicole Tracy.
Mic check.
We can hear you.
Cool. To the man who said I looked like Arya Stark from the neck down after seeing the one scene she is naked in. Really? This is the one time in 8 seasons you think I look like her? And while this is not the first time a man has said he fantasizes about me, it is probably the most creative way. And so he stands there expecting me to give him some praise. I mean, it's such a compliment, right? I could be a body double for any beautiful white girl. I would look perfect and out of reach on small and large screens. I mean, I should be thankful, right? Thankful that I am one of the top search terms for sexual fantasy, because after all, fetish and Japanese are separate search terms but are not mutually exclusive. And after all, it's not your fault the world only puts fantasy out. It says I can only be sexy or smart, and having boobs means I can only be sexy. I should be thankful, right? That you and so many men beat your dick to the idea of me without knowing my name or thinking about the bloody history white violence leaves behind. He sees me in every anime he's ever watched and calls me fan service and believes it to be a compliment. When he says I look like Arya Stark from the neck down, what he means to say is he is ignoring what strong women we are, sees us as a pair of walking boobs, only calls himself a feminist from his male gaze. And yes, I am like Arya Stark. I am a bloodthirsty bitch. Arya Stark kills the goddamn Night King, and I'm sure she would sneer at your comments too. Call you harmless because it would hurt your masculinity, would kill you in self-defense. And remember, we will not give you a warning if you put your hands on us.
Gang, motherfucking gang. Give it up one last time for Nicole Tracy. Yay! And for reference, Bree got a 27.5 once again. Fuck the scores. Give it up for the poetry, never the points. The poetry, never the points. The poetry, never the points. And on deck, we have figuring out who won and going to bed, because I have work at 8 a.m. But give maximum love to our last poet of the night. Oh, that's right. Give it up for Bambi.
Ode to the people cut out of pictures. There's something beautiful about friends who aren't your friends, giving you some of your best experiences. Riding in shopping carts, getting drunk and watching a wedding take place on bladed green, watching the buildings across the street move at 2 a.m., sitting in the wet grass, laying your heavy head on their shoulder, folding your hands into their withered palms, dancing in kitchens, smiling across pillows, kissing their cheeks pricked by the harsh air. I've experienced so many people. So the beauty of people I might only have awkward likes and we should hang out sometimes with from now on. Maybe we were meant to only exist in cut up photographs and poems. Now they are just as artistic as the paintings on my wall. Now they own my earrings and I own a plant that I will let die. Temporary people always give you plants. Does that say something? Temporary people love to plant themselves into you and walk away, tell you to take care. Sometimes I am a temporary person. So I'm sorry if I forget your name that one time at the supermarket, your eyes filled with I know you transformed to I wish I did. And we soaked in the frozen food section like I mean something more than I meant to. See, sometimes I underestimate my own heartbeat and my own face and my own breath, the way it is so easy to get attached to. I was probably looking away that one time we met up. All faces blur together nowadays. And if it helps you sleep at night, please remember, sometimes I wrap myself too tightly around those with erasers for hearts. I'm a fourth wall break, an acknowledgement of the outer world, aren't I? Take solace in the fact that you will think about me the way you think about the last step you took, or the thing you ate up a week ago, how you missed the taste but can't bring yourself to cook today. And I will leave the wrong people again and again and again. There is a moment when your eyes connect with the back of someone long forgotten, walking away with a memory never touched, a warmth never felt, a chill, a cold, a harsh existence. And who are we not to pat the backs of those who have left us? So maybe I'll forget about you, or maybe I'll write your name on the bark of a tree I'll never revisit. Maybe you're trying to forget me. And to that, I say, good luck.
Gang, give it up one last time for Bambi. Hey, we have reached the end of our slam. While I am waiting for Chardonnay to send me the scores, let me tell you about other Bay Area shows that we run. Let's see, there is, of course, the Oakland Poetry Slam every third Tuesday. So that means it was yesterday. You missed it if you didn't see it. If you did see it, you know it was an amazing show last night. We had an amazing feature. Ashia Johnny, we have another amazing feature lined up for May, and I'll talk about that in a second. Then you have every first and third Saturday, the Alchemy open mic happening through Instagram Live. But Reggie, this Saturday is the third Saturday, right? Yeah, actually it is. Which means that's this Saturday. So our list will be going up on Saturday afternoon on Instagram. You just sign up in the comment section, put your name and what number you want to go in. So if you would like to join our open mic, we encourage you to go to Rich Oak Alchemy on Instagram and sign up for our open mic on Saturday. And then of course, there is yours truly, the Berkeley Poetry Slam every Wednesday here. Facebook Live, Instagram Live. We got Periscope up in this mug. It's over. It's over because May's feature for Oakland Slam is Ian Milligan. When I tell you, like, I don't think y'all understand. Like, I don't book the features, and I looked. And I was pleasantly surprised. And I looked. I just look at every time I look at the feature calendar, I'm just like, we got hoops to feature. Like, I don't know, like, let me tell you, I don't know how our booking managers know, but, and for reference, Bambi got a 28.9. Again, fuck the scores, give it up for the poetry. But like deadass. But back to the feature conversation, we have an amazing lineup of features. Like tonight's feature was amazing. Like I don't know what to say, but expect greatness every week for the rest of your life, because that's what these booking folks are doing. They are giving you greatness every week, sometimes 3 times a week. Yeah, I'm still waiting on final scores. While I am waiting on those, let me tell you what's going on next month.
Who's featuring next week, babe?
Oh, next week we have Imani Sundiata, right? That's not the week after, right?
No, that's next week.
That's next week, lit. So next week we have Imani Sundiata coming through, going to feature. It's gonna be like, y'all don't understand. Every week we have a great feature. It's like, I'm not even bullshitting. Like, we are pulling out the best people in the Bay Area. Like, y'all don't understand. It is great. And the best people, not even the best people in the Bay Area, because we have our global community and we have poets coming through from literally everywhere. It's the best people that the Bay Area can find. So if you know better people, if you know good people that are not on our list of people to feature, hit us up. We are always looking.
What are we doing?
But we will get into that in a second. I have our scores. In third place with a 57.6. I need y'all to give it up for Bambi. Gang, 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 gang. Anything to say?
Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know why that was like you were awkward and that made me awkward because I'm already awkward and like I'm empathetically awkward. Like when something awkward happens on the television, I cringe. Like so, watching a Jim Carrey movie is like triggering for me.
I can't watch Jim Carrey. I can't watch him. He gives me too much anxiety.
Exactly. I feel secondhand like awkwardness, secondhand embarrassment. So when you froze, I froze. But we're back. We were in the moment together. I almost said on deck, so this is where I'm at. Half a bottle of kombucha and way too much weed later. But in second place with a 58.4, I need y'all to give it up for Kaya. Woo! Woo!
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm very awkward about. Yeah, thank you.
You know what? Let's just keep the awkward train going. We're already on it. I'm the conductor. Woo, woo. Oh God. We're just making it worse. We're just gonna make it worse. The only way out is through. We're in the tunnel of awkwardness. We can see the other side because in first place with a 59.0, give it up for Joshua Merchant.
Thanks. Thanks for rolling with my technical difficulties, and y'all are all amazing. Kaya, fuck.
Exactly, same. Per.
And like lots of love to everybody, like period. But all right, cool. I'll be back sometime. I don't know, I randomly show up and shit. Love y'all, peace.
But we love it when you show up. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you, Joshua. Thank you, Kaya. Thank you, Bambi, Bree, Nicole. Thank you so much, Jari. Thank you, like everybody. Damn. Whew. And that's the show. Next week we're going to have another amazing feature. I made this announcement last week. I'm making it again, just for everyone out there, we are going to be taking the month of April off from doing slams and open mics, but we will have an amazing writing workshop series as well as an amazing intergenerational show for you coming up next month. Stay tuned for more information.
Too.
What?
Founder Speaks next month.
Oh, also Founder Speaks, we're going to be having a 420 live stream, so hold on to your butts. It's going to be a bumpy ride. Thank y'all so much for rocking out with the awkwardness. We have made it through the tunnel. We are exiting the awkward train and going straight to Anxietyville. My name has been Reggie. This has been Reggie. Like, it's not going to forever be Reggie. Who knows? I might change my name. Maybe I'll be Charles next week. But what you know is that it's been an amazing night. Thank y'all so much for being here. We will see y'all next week.